Good evening, boys and girls. Happy Monday. It is another live edition of the Highbury Squad. Are you ready? I think you might be. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It is Monday Madness here. Thanks to everyone who's followed over from Tom's show. Thanks to Tom from the Gooner Talk TV for having me on this evening. A great chat with him and Harry. Good evening, squaddies and everyone in the house. How's everyone doing this fine Monday evening? Let's take a look and see what's happening with you guys. We have got our regular top 5 talking points. We're going to do with a bit of a twist tonight, because I wanted to do something different. So Kev is back on tomorrow. He's on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Our agenda for this week, tomorrow night, we've got the Tuesday Club-ish with Lee Judges and Dan Potts from Lee Judges TV. On Wednesday, we have Wednesday Women, and joining me will be World Cup winning coach, Olympic gold winning coach Jill Ellis, which is going to be a phenomenal conversation, so you won't want to miss that. On Thursday, we have a round table with Andrew, Arsblog Mangan, and Mr. David Hillier. And then on Friday, we round it all up with a little bit of Kevin Says. So that is the agenda for this week. It feels like a bit of a manic Monday Lone Star, but we love a good old-fashioned busy day. Evening to each and every one of you. Thanks for joining me. Let's talk about 80s music. Why not? Guess what I started watching this weekend? I don't know if you guys have seen it. Have you guys seen the show Physical on Apple with Rose Byrne? Holy cow. After that first episode, I needed a nap. It was so high octane, and the voice in her head was freaking me out a little bit, but the music was absolutely fantastic. I love a show where the 80s music kicks in. So Newman, of course, you are the king of 80s music. Don't you want me, baby? Actually, sorry, no, that was the Human League. God, I need one of those Gary Newman songs. Hit me up with one. Anyway, Ted Lasso. I saw the premiere of the second season. I love the line where he says, "This is why I don't bring an umbrella to a brainstorm." I thought that was brilliant. Killing the dog. That was kind of hilarious in a non-hilarious way, but I love that storyline and where it's going. And I love how put out he is by this mental coach, this psychologist who's come in. He's feeling a little bit left out. So we're going to see Ted, challenged a little bit this season as well, because he's gotten away with it. And People Are Strange. Love that song too. So, let's see. I'm going to have to watch this show. Excellent. I love that. Let's do it. Oh, no. There's no Ted Lasso spoilers for the opening. I don't think Ted Lasso is the kind of show where you could actually give away spoilers, or is it? Maybe, maybe not. Which one did you watch, Osteoman? The Tottenham one, because it's kind of funny. The reboot of Dexter. Yes. I'm all into that. Definitely. Let's see. James watched the 2009 version of The Firm again on Friday. Great 80s soundtrack. Yes. 80s. Let's go. Where do we want to go? Maybe we'll just do a show. We did one a few months ago where we talked about old shows and music and stuff like that. Love it. That's where Monday Madness comes in. And on Mondays, here's what I'm going to be doing too. If you have a talent, I am going to start highlighting top Gooners who have talents and share their whether it's pictures, videos, photos, designers, any type of thing. If you're in the Arsenal community and you think you have talent, I want to showcase that. I'm going to be showcasing some pictures this week. Peter Lewis, who's been a guest on the show before, the dude is into like space shit. And let me tell you, his pictures are unbelievable. I mean, clearly he has a really good telescope, better than the one I have in my living room, but it's really unbelievable. So be sure to let me know at the highburysquad@gmail.com. Right, kids. Let's talk about something really important, right? So Monday Madness is usually me going on with top 5 talking points, and then you guys chime in the chat and let me know what you think as well. But tonight I wanted to do it with a little bit of a twist, because there's a group of fans who have been wonderful for the community for a long, long time. And living out here in America, Arsenal America, and all of the different branches are full of incredible fans, incredible people from top cities like New York and LA, big cities, I should say, in Miami, Chicago. You know, even there are even Arsenal branches in towns like there's Pikes Peak in Colorado. There's Knoxville. They are everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, they are everywhere. And they love our club like something awful, like we all do. And as you know, the Florida Cup was cancelled this summer. And unfortunately, a lot of fans were really bummed about that. But the great thing is that they've still gotten together and they are all in Orlando and they're having a good old time. And I wanted to bring on some of these fans to feature them and, you know, just show everyone that the love for the club exists in all corners of the earth. And these guys are still out there and they're still flying the flag for the club. So coming on first here with me this evening is one of my favorites, Aston. Welcome back to the show, mate. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, baby. How you doing?
I'm great now that I got to meet all these new Gooners.
What's been going on down there? Give us a bit of a take on what's been happening.
Well, it's been great. So, unfortunately, like everybody knows, how the game was canceled. So, you know, we weren't really expecting much of a turnout. Lo and behold, 7 p.m. rolls around on Saturday night, and we have a bar absolutely packed with Arsenal fans. And it was a great experience. It's great to have everybody kind of come in, you know, hang out, meet each other. I think everybody is of the same opinions. We are all kind of the same vibe. I mean, nobody wants. I think you lost me. Did you? Am I back?
I lost you. Yeah, you're there. You're back.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so basically we're just kind of getting together. We've been doing just different events all over the city, just different meetups at different bars, different hangouts. We did a tailgate at the brewery for a game that didn't happen. And we also did a charity for cancer, the Gooners vs. Cancer event, where we did do some fundraising for that as well.
Yeah, we're going to bring Mike here in a little bit, but I just wanted to have a little bit of chat with you first. And then also just wanted to share this very special message from another very special Gooner who we all love and adore.
This is a message to all the Gooners in the US who are doing such a great job. Pity the team couldn't go out there to the tournament in Florida, Orlando, but you guys are doing us proud. Magic Mike, Tiff, Aston, all the guys, all the Gooners are there, mingling, enjoying themselves, creating such a buzz, mingling with Everton fans as well. Magic Mike, keep up the great work. Listen, everyone, please support Gooners versus leukemia, versus cancer. And Magic Mike's doing such a great job, and he does it with such a big heart. And I just want to say I'm proud of you all, because you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to go. You didn't need to link up. You know, you definitely didn't need to be down there when the team ain't there. But you went there anyway to connect. And I'm sure everybody's proud of you, just the way I am. This is the Arsenal, when you make us, you're special, guys. The Arsenal special. Look after yourselves. Take good care. And lots of love, everyone.
That's Super Kevin Campbell sending a very special message to all of the Gooners in the USA, because you all had your hotels booked, you had your Airbnbs booked, you had your flights booked. No one's paying that back. So, I mean, you guys took PTO. For those that don't know, in America, PTO is paid time off. That's your holiday form that you fill out. So, Aston, it's a really big deal that you're all there and you're still kind of getting together, and it's all for the love of the club.
Yeah, and it's been great. I love the fact that my city can host everybody and create some really great memories. I do want to do a really big special shout out to Chris and Megan Lodato. They actually got engaged at the bar just on Saturday.
Wow.
When we met up.
Amazing. Well, we need to get a picture of that engagement, and we'll put it up on the show as well. I'm going to bring in another very lovable Gooner, we should say. Some people call him Microwave Mike. Some people call him Magic Mike. To most of us, he is the Mike. Welcome to the show, Mr. Magic Mike. live from Orlando. Also,
Aston, long time no see.
Welcome, Mike. How's it going out there?
This is a nice rest day. This is like, when you because
I'm
an
no
athlete
drink day. No drink day. Is that what you mean?
It's been a long week since I got here. Today's going to be my day off, and then we go again tomorrow. That's just that's how we roll down here. But it's been fun. Aston pretty much, covered all the highlights. We have people's married lives starting at a Gooner event that never happened. They're going to be able to tell their kids someday about how they drunkenly got. I hope that's still on. Like I got engaged with my wife 26 years ago in the exact same way. Didn't see it coming, didn't have a ring. So I told them that story, and I'm like, look, I'm still married. So if I could do it, you could do it.
Are you saying that it was a drunken engagement? Is that what you're saying?
100%. It was not only this has nothing to do with Arsenal. It was in my fraternity house that I had graduated from a year earlier. We were down for something called Foxfield at the University of Virginia, and we just said, you know what, this could work. And
you did it.
One of us saw it coming, but hey, it's been 26 years. We're still together. So
now Aston's getting questions as to whether he got married. Aston did not get married, but here's a shocking revelation that Newman almost got married once. And I'm just wondering, who was that girl that escaped? I mean,
he must be punching even better than I am, but
absolutely. Well, say hi to all the squaddies. They're all sending their love out for you guys. There's a lot of love, as you know, on the Highbury squad for our US fans and supporters and stuff like that. So let's get the take on what people are talking about on the ground there. I got some talking points for you guys this evening. The first one is, I was just coming off Tom's show and talking to Harry and Tom asked a really good question about, are we doing enough to sell the players that we currently have? And I was like, wow, that's a really good question. We're so focused on who's coming in that we've kind of forgotten about the players that we need to move on. So I'll start with you first, Aston. If there are going to be a number of, or a couple of, or a player that you think absolutely we need to get rid of in this window, they have to go. Are we finally going to be able to sell Kolasinac to someone? Are we going to have to loan him again to someone? Is Xhaka really going? Are we going to sell Willock? Is Maitland-Niles staying or going? Is he, it feels like a scene from Moonlight, and you're probably too young for this. Is you is, or is you ain't, a little bit of that. And Reece Nelson as well. What's your take on the Deadwood?
So I think it's going to be a more complicated summer for that than people understand. I think people need to remember, the same way it's a great market for us to go and buy foreign players because all of these leagues are a little cash poor. It's also conversely very hard for them to buy our players. I think that you might see a lot of more structured deals or this loan with an option to buy coming out of it, just because I think the desire is there, but I don't think the money is, and that's the real problem.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that Harry said too, Mike, was that as much as we want to sell players, a lot of teams in Europe especially just don't have the cash, to buy. So loan deals might have to come into play. When you look at some of the loan deals we did last season, the most value was probably Saliba and Mavropanos, who were the best loan deals that we had. Torreira in limbo. What's your take on what we have and who you really think is going to end up leaving, considering the climate that we're living in right now fiscally?
It is the worst time to have all this bloated roster of players who just aren't good enough for our 8th place football team. But it's going to be hard to move everyone on that we need to. I mean, I think we have to take advantage of market timing. I always kind of relate things to the financial industry because player trading is really very similar to investing. And Arsenal have been the worst at doing that in the last 10 years, at least. But Willock is the guy I look at as the one who has the most market value right now. And yet I've heard the number's 40 now, shrinking down to, you've said, would you take 20 for him? And so even in the market where we have somebody that is as proven over the last 2 months as a person could be proven over a 2-month period, you got to strike while the iron is hot, and that's the sale that I'm just scratching my head figuring out why that can't be made.
And also, with no European football this season, as Archangel says, it makes it a little bit tougher. Obviously, we've been able to attract players just because of Arsenal Football Club's pedigree, without Champions League football, but we always had Europa League football for the, Obers and the Lacazettes and the Pepes and the Gabriels of the world and the Thomas Parties of the world. But this season, we lack that. And look at the way we're penny pinching around the club in terms of trying to save money in order to be able to make money. But I'll go on to my second talking point for tonight, which is a subject that I thought had gone away, but it's reared its ugly head. But I understand why, because to me, I think he has the most market value of any potential player that will be outgoing, and that is Lacazette. And it seems like the rumors about Atletico are back on. Now, this hurts my heart a little bit, I have to say, when it comes to Lacazette. I think one of the things Arsenal fans expected more from him was goals, right? They just think that in his position, he should be scoring a lot more goals or be more prolific. But what he's brought to the team, I believe, is some things that we just don't see. I've always compared him to being our Bobby Firmino. The only difference is maybe he didn't have a Salah and a Sane, at their height. Although there was a time where he and Oba and Pepe were on fire towards that FA Cup win in Arteta's first season. Aston, Lacazette to Atletico, would you be making that deal if it was in that region of 2025? They're talking about maybe players as well, but to me, it hurts a little bit because I think he's one of our best players off the ball and doesn't get enough credit for maybe what he did in a leadership role with the younger players last season too.
Yeah, off the ball, I was going to say he might be one of our best players off the pitch. He has incredible leadership skills and a lot of clout with a lot of the young players. I think he kind of comes off kind of like the hip dad of the group. You know what I mean? But on the flip side of that, this is something that we're going to have to kind of admit to ourselves, which is he better than Giroud? When we essentially replaced Giroud with him. You're saying some of the same things that we used to defend Giroud with. We used to say that, okay, Giroud may not score a bunch of goals, but he makes our team play better. But are we scoring as many goals as we would have with like a Giroud? And is he really putting the level of output that we need out of him? Or do we just have Arsenal eyes because we've kind of fallen in love with the beautiful French man that he is? You know what I mean? So,
look at you, Aston. Aston and I have had arguments about Giroud. Now he's saying everything I would.
He's all on the GQ Giroud train now. He's gone, huh, Mike?
Well, think about this. Like, this has been Lacazette's best season at 17 goals. Giroud used to do that, and we used to slag him off for it. So what are we doing here? We have to think about how can we move forward as a club? And right now we have two players that are over 30 that we may not be able to, and we always talk about how we're not able to get money for value, cash for value. Well, then that's two assets. That's two strikers we're not going to be able to get a lot of money for in 4 or 5 years. So the question is, what do you do with that?
You know, what's interesting is I know there's not a lot of money in La Liga, Mike. We know this. There's not a lot of money in Syria. I mean, look, there's a reason Conte left Inter Milan, when he was told he had to trim and he's not going to get the investment. It's just not going to happen. So the interesting thing to me and what I asked Tom and Harry on Tom's show is, how is it Chelsea can get 18 million for a player who's not kicked the ball in the Premier League hardly? And we are saying, well, Atletico won't spend 15. Well, who will spend 20, 25 on Lacazette? Why do we keep underselling our assets when they're at, even sometimes they're not peak value, but they have value? And a lot of the responses were, well, the reason why is because Chelsea have a model of doing business and people know they don't have to sell. Whereas people know.
I thought Harry's answer on that was spot on. I mean,
so are you in agreement, Mike?
100%. I was sitting there nodding my head when Harry was answering that question. It was, it is at this point a perception issue. It is, we are when you play poker and they say if you don't know who the fish is at the table or whatever, you don't know who the mark is at the table, then it's you. That's exactly what we're dealing with in the Premier League right now. Except I think we kind of know it. Everyone but the people actually at the club doing the transfer seems to know it. We just now have a reputation that we cannot get rid of until maybe we it's the same thing with refereeing. We don't get the respect from referees. We don't get the respect from other teams. Our players get kicked around all over the pitch and elbowed and cleated, and no one gets a red card because we're Arsenal. I think there's some truth to that, but it's a cyclical thing as well. You can get out of that. You can get out of that by having Saka and ESR on the England national team, playing well, getting protected, winning games with style again. I mean, it's going to take a lot, but when you start doing that, you have teams that are desperate for our assets. Right now, they just know that we've got a poo-poo platter full of average players that we're trying to unload and try to get something close to what we paid for them originally back. And when you know the motivations of the other team that you're in negotiations with, you hold all the cards. And Chelsea has, for better or for worse, and I think they got penalized for it, they've used the loan system well. They've used just brought tons of young players in the hopes that some of them would work out. And they've been able, and Liverpool's been able to monetize those players in far better way than we are because they don't have to sell. And so I don't know. It drives me crazy to keep talking about Ryan Brewster and Dominic Solange and whoever this guy is that Vieira just bought for Palace, and why we can't seem to get rid of Joe Willock for the same money at this point. But it's a hard reality that we're probably just going to have to reset and hope that the entire cycle of Arsenal Football Club comes around again and we can be on the other side of that equation.
Yeah, go on, Aston, mate.
Yeah, just to comment on that, I think it's also a little bit of a bigger problem when you take a step back. One of the things that you can say that Abramovich and the Liverpool managers have brought with them are actual management teams to deal with contracts and negotiations. I think Arsenal is so far back in the infrastructure, in the business infrastructure, in the contract infrastructure, that is often why we are always left with such a dire situation. Sure, is the perception there? Absolutely. I'm not saying that that's not a huge, if not probably the main piece, but I think another part of that piece is we have not had a negotiator that's gotten the job done on whether it be coming in or going out since David Dean.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's no doubt that Edu is trying to reverse a terrible trend of how we do business. And we might not see all of the results in this window. We're certainly not. It's a work in progress. Most of us agreed that January was a great window because we're able to get rid of all of the click and the bad karma in the dressing room, but at a cost. And the cost was zero. We got no ROI on any of that stuff. And we just can't continue to be that club, which is why one of the markets and the areas, which brings me to point number 3, is the British player market. Now, I don't agree with it, but here we are. We're about to spend 50 million on Ben White. Now, do I think Ben White's worth 50 million? No, but do I think he's worth signing? 100%. If he was a player that was coming from France or Spain, he would probably be 25. But the market dictates what it is. United paid 85 for Harry Maguire. When City wanted Stones from Everton, they had to pay a heavy sum too. So if we're not able to get maximum dollar for Lacazette because he wants to go to Europe, if we can't get maximum dollar for Bellerin because he wants to go to Inter, what can we get for the Joe Willocks, the Maitland-Niles, and even the Reece Nelson of the world, even if it's an exchange of player plus cash? Mike, I'm going to start with you. You're really good with numbers and you always help align me when I start talking about the business side of things. But why aren't we focusing on that when we can bring in top dollar maybe for those players, or as top dollar as we can in this transfer window?
Well, I'm normally good with numbers, but I'm normally not as hungover as I am at the moment either. But the thing about the Lacazette sale, I wanted to comment on that before because you mentioned your attachment to him, and Aston, you talked about him as well. I love the guy as well, but if all this discussion about Tammy Abraham, forget the 40 million part and forget what we could sell Lacazette for. I think those are the kinds of moves that we actually need to be making. Forget the fact that he plays for Chelsea. That's a misnomer because he's not 32 and on the downside of his career. So for one, I would sadly say goodbye to Lacazette and consider it an upgrade in age.
Are you saying you'd rather have Tammy Abraham than Lacazette? Is that
over
what
the
I'm
next
hearing?
5 years, yes. I'm not just thinking about the next 1 or 2 years. I'm thinking in terms of the whole evolution of trying to get into a situation where we have young players with marketability, and unless his career, Tammy Abraham's career, just goes down the tubes, if he's given a regular opportunity to play at 23,
why not give Balogun a regular opportunity to play?
I think we're going to need all of those guys, because in 2 years we're not going to have Lacazette or Aubameyang still firing for us. So Balogun's in the plans. Tammy, I mean, that I'm looking at resale value, age profile, and what they bring to the team. I'm not saying he's an upgrade on Lacazette in this moment in time, but I am saying that those are the kinds of moves we need to make if we want to start getting on the opposite side, where we have marketable assets and young assets that are not just portfolio assets, but they're going to help our team in the short run.
Okay, so Aston, I think we all get caught up in this. Oh my God, not another ex-Chelsea, not a Chelsea player. Please don't sign another Chelsea player. But I think in this instance, it's a totally different conversation, because this is a Chelsea player who has some market value and stock, right? As Mike said, he's young. And Frank Lampard believed in him. Tuchel did not, right? Tuchel wanted to play a different way. Timo Werner was his guy. But as you guys saw, he struggled for goals. And maybe James Johnson's in the room, but there's some good stats on Tammy in terms of the ratio of what he's scored versus how much he has played. He gives an aerial threat to the Arsenal. And if I remember, last year we put in 555,000 crosses, 2 point however many. And there was very rarely anyone on the end of them. If Tammy was at Southampton or Brighton, would we be looking at this a little bit differently?
Actually, so I'm a little split on it. I do believe that the reason I like the Tammy Abraham thing is because what Mike's saying about squad building and age profiles is important. What you want for each position is your most senior guy, your oldest guy is usually going to be the guy starting. He's in his prime. He's playing. He's got a guy slightly younger than him competing, and then you have a youth. We'd have Aubameyang. We'd have Tammy. Then we'd have a Balogun right under them. And then that way, when Aubameyang naturally ages out, you have an asset that's at its peak value for you to go ahead and sell. So I do understand that argument, and it's really good. I just think that we can do a little better than Tammy. I think that there might be some other striker targets. And this is my biggest thing. I don't know that I agree with this let's buy a bunch of British players inside of this market. Specifically,
no, I'm saying sell, not buy.
Oh, no. But I'm saying, but how we bought Ben White. And now we're talking about buying Tammy. And the reason I don't agree with that is because you can go to France right now, or you can go to a myriad of leagues that I think have players just on the same level that we could get for half the price.
Also, there's a stigma to Tammy, and I don't know why, Mike and Aston. I don't know where this is coming from, but James brings up a really good point. He's got a better goals per game ratio than Calvert-Lewin, and you would argue Calvert-Lewin has started way more many games. And this Calvert-Lewin thing, I think, he had that amazing first few months of the season, and everyone kind of rode and went on that train a little bit. Why do you think Tammy has a stigma attached to him, Mike? He just seems to be one of those players that people think he's as someone said in chat, a Lukaku light, or he's just not like technically gifted. But if you see his play overall, he's got really good touch with his first touch is really good. His interplay is really good. He's got pace. And he's positionally, I think a lot of the times he finds himself in the right place at the right time. He's going to miss chances like a lot of strikers. But I don't understand what the stigma is. Is it because he's a Chelsea player?
It's exactly because of that. It's the Chelsea mentality is that, I mean, it is hard to break. You either have to be an otherworldly player who's just rapidly on the rise, a la Mason Mount, or you have to be a big name a Galactico that they're going to bring in. Because if you don't force your way into that starting lineup every single game, if you're not Diego Costa when he came to Chelsea, or you're going to have someone bought to go in front of you. And that's what's continued to happen to Tammy Abraham through his development, is that they've said, you know what, we just don't. I mean, Tammy Abraham through the youth ranks, he's good, but are we going to start him every game? Is he going to be our next Didier Drogba? Is he going to be Diego Costa, or are we going to go out and spend, millions of pounds on Timo Werner and hope that he turns into the next Lewandowski for us? Are we going to buy Erling Haaland? So, I think he gets a bad rap because he might not be good enough to claim that Drogba spot at Chelsea, but he could certainly be good enough and develop. And like you said, if he played for Southampton and had the kind of year that he is capable of having, he would probably be moving on to a United or to another big club for big money. 40 is a lot. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be gutted if we don't get him, because we do have other options. We do have Martinelli and Balogun, who probably need a little bit more time on the pitch in a year where we don't play twice in a week. I just think that if it were the long-term kind of getting out the people that aren't going to have resale value and maybe on the decline, and I don't think Lacazette's on the decline yet, but it's going to happen soon. And replacing them with young, talented people who just need the opportunity to play, I think it would be a positive step. So I wouldn't argue against that move.
Yeah, I just wanted to put this comment up from JJ. Tamo will smash the goals in for Arsenal, guarantee it. Tierney, Pepe, Cedric, if he's playing right back, is a bit of a whippy delish on the crosses. Well, I have a fear Chambers will be playing right back, but I don't want to talk about that today. Please, don't. Mike, don't mention the CC word.
I didn't bring him up.
You didn't like his new haircut? Come on.
No, that's a Holding, isn't it? Who got why Chambers has got a new haircut too? Did I miss something? I was AWOL yesterday.
The facial hair now is what he's doing.
Oh well, yeah, he reminds me of. He looks like a very dashing soldier from World War II. You know?
Yeah, he could be in like a Tom Hanks movie or something like that.
I stand by. If people think we're going to improve with Chambers at right back, it's not going to happen. But anyway, that's another show for another day. Good evening to all 300 of you in live chat this fine Monday evening with my Gooners in the USA guests right here. Well, they're kind of furniture, really. They're part of the Highbury Squad family. They are still in Orlando. It's the hashtag no party, but still we party, or we still party.
Still we party, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. I don't know.
Regardless of the team, unfortunately, having to cancel. And we all know the team didn't want to do that because it put their preseason plans into disarray. But this Gooner lot are still there and they're getting together and doing great things. And towards the end of the show, we'll have Mike share a bunch of stuff with you guys for the fantastic charity Gooners versus Cancer as well. This all brings me up to point 4 a little bit. Fans and our expectations, you guys. How much will the sky fall? And I'm just talking hypothetically here, right? How much will the sky fall if, say, Ben White comes in and that's our business? Is it possible, Mike, that could be the case?
I don't think so. But I mean, we've had windows where we bought in one elderly goalkeeper and that's it. So it wouldn't absolutely shock me. I know that the team knows they need more than just that. That is unquestioned. I know that they feel that there's another midfielder needed, probably someone in the 8 position. I don't know that they really are looking at a right back, to your chagrin and to mine as well. I despite my love for Callum Chambers, I don't love him as our starting right back. I love him as a guy who's in the squad. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see 3 more, including Ben White. But the market is the tough thing. I mean, we're not going to, except for Ben White, we're not going to pay way over the odds for somebody at this point. Mm-hmm. And even though I don't like the narrative that we have to sell before we can buy, because you balance your books at the end of the window, you don't do it as you go along. It isn't like they're reaching into the piggy bank to see what money is in there before they can spend it. It's a long-term thing, but without knowing that we can sell, then they're absolutely not going to really be able to commit to buying that much. And so the next thing to fall has to be those 5, 6, 7 players that you and Harry and Tom were talking about. No, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, it's got to be those players who need to be moved on. We have to at least start to get some certainty that they will be moved on before.
So you're staying away from answering the question about the meltdown potential.
How bad would it be? Okay, how bad would it be if we signed Ben White? People will try to talk themselves into it, and then when we lose 3 of the first 4 games, then it's going to be Hiroshima all over again.
Aston, what's your take? I mean, we've had a solid window, but we haven't had a great window. Ben White comes in, maybe we get a goalkeeper somewhere, but that's it. What would you say?
No, I actually think that the zeitgeist in the air is a little different on this time around, because I think that we finally reached a point as fans where we actually expect this outcome. We actually expect to not do anything. When we bought Ben White for $50 million, that's almost like a signal to fans, like, what are we doing spending all this money in a place that we don't feel that we needed? We don't trust our board. I think there really is going to be a meltdown. What you said is the $1 million question. Every single fan that I spoke to this weekend brought this exact thing up. Mm-hmm. So I do really think that this is going to be it's a moment where I don't even think this falls on Arteta. I don't think this falls on Edu. I think this is a reformation on the Cronkies themselves. If we see such what we consider irresponsible spending on a center back for a position where we have 6 other players.
If there's no sale of, say, Willock or Maitland-Niles, is that a bad move? I mean, clearly, there's the juxtaposition here for Arsenal is who's coming in, who's going out, but there's certain players that we need to move on, right? And I'll come to my 5th one in a minute, but if we don't move those players on, like the Willocks of the world, like Bellerin, I mean, I think in order for Arteta to really succeed and have a team in his image, some of these players have to be moved on.
It's an extension of the click issue, except, these players aren't necessarily like undermining Arteta and the club, but they are just having literal stale deadwood around that's not likely to get on the pitch unless there's just 2 people are injured in front of them. Just having them around the club it's friction. It holds you back. It prevents you from making the steps forward that you need to step. As much as Saka and ESR re-signing and Tierney getting a contract extension, all of that is pushing us forward. And this deadwood that we can't get rid of is working 100% opposite to that, pushing us back. And that's why I think it is important to get rid of them. Less even about the money we get rid of than just resetting the squad and saying these are our ride or dies going forward. We're not going to be this country club for people who aren't good enough to cut it here anymore.
Okay, so brings me to my point number 5, and Yannis just put something in chat too. And I asked this question to the lads earlier on Tom's show, and I'd love to know what the squaddies think. And yes, hit the like button. You know the rules. If you hate Tottenham, hit the like button. If you like more signings, hit the like button. If you'd like to get rid of Kolasinac, hit the like button. What would you guys say?
I'll be right back. I have to go open 94 browsers.
Or as I think it's Matthew or Matty, I don't know. Someone said it. Caress. They're into caressing the like button now. They don't want to hit anything.
Nice.
What would you guys say if my 0.5 we're haggling over $2 or $3 million? What would happen if the Xhaka move fell through, Aston?
Oh gosh. One, I think that it's complicated. I think we need to get money for Xhaka. Xhaka is not one where we're not going to recoup 30 million. We're not going to recoup 20 million. But if they're offering like what I'm hearing as low as like 10 million, I do think that that's a reasonable moment to go, okay, we have next year, I think we can get more than 10 million. In January, I think we can get more than 10 million. But it's really close because I think he needs to go. I think Xhaka, Bellerin, and Willock to an extension have this. We used to always have this casual nature about the club. Players that just, it didn't matter if they performed or not. They're going to get paid, come back the next week, and do it all again. I think that if we don't move the players that are part of that mentality out, then we're never going to change back into that winning mentality that we had in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Mike, what's your take on it? I mean, I've defended Xhaka wherever I could possibly. And, you get to a point where you're really in the mindset of, like Aston says, if we really want to turn this team around, just some players have to go. It's like that relationship you just try to make work. He's going to change. I know he is. Then you get the flowers and you get a few bits, but then, they'll put their foot in it again and you're like,
and he's flipping people off again. And then you're like, what?
Yeah, I've stated very clearly on a number of occasions that my issues with Xhaka are not anything having to do with his footballing ability. It's his personality. And I don't care for him at all. I haven't had an Arsenal player that I felt like that about. I'll root for him when he's on the pitch with his shirt on and his hands to his side. But beyond that, I just don't like him at the club. And so we do really need to move him on. But the issue we're having with Roma right now is that same Arsenal stigma where every time we want to get rid of a player and we're haggling over a few million euro, like in this situation, the desire is, we just want to get rid of him so bad, just sell him for 15 or 17. Let's not hold out for 20 because we don't want the whole thing to fall through. And then on the buy side, we're like, well, we're trying to pay 45 for Ben White. They want 50, but let's just get it done. Let's pay the 50. So we're always on the wrong side of those concessions on both the buying side and the selling side. And it's going to take a generation, a football generation, that is, maybe 5 to 10 years for us to truly break out of that stigma. But what do I think will happen if Xhaka doesn't get sold? I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be.
I think Tom's right here. A meltdown. There will be an absolute meltdown. People will be having conniptions left, right, and center. And look, for me, in order for I would love to have seen this in a different world. Maybe this could have been possible. El Neni, Xhaka, Kolasinac, holding. Maybe I'll hold. If maybe I'm on the fence, Chambers gone. I would have sold Aubameyang this summer if I could have.
I would. That was my dream. And I don't think Aston's going to agree with this, but that was my dream come true. If we could have just had a do-over with that contract. I know there's a lot of hindsight involved in that because I was as excited to see that reveal video that he had re-signed as anyone else. But I really think that's one that we're gonna regret in a year or two, and I would have loved to get out from under that.
You want to put a $5 on it?
You think he's going to have an amazing season, Aston?
I think he's going to be back to. I don't think maybe not a Golden Boot winning season, but I do feel like there were enough mitigating circumstances to think that he's going to go back to performing at a level of at least 20 goals a season. I expect at least 20 goals this season.
I've promised to not talk about why I'm not allowed to talk about it anymore. I am allowed, but I've tried to mute myself. But let's just say it involves something called the NLD. Excuse me.
I'm with you on that. I didn't have T-shirts printed up about it, but I'm with you on
the whole kind of like selling us with his cute little somersaults in Mykonos and stuff. Oh, our captain, and if Arteta really wanted to show some major balls in like no nonsense this season, I would have made Thomas Partey or Kieran Tierney captain. I would have, Aubameyang, I always felt like, did he really want to be there to play, or was it more about the money? I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. So I hope that he becomes the Oba we knew, because he's certainly been given the chances to score lots of goals last season and he whiffed. And I know he had some personal problems, you guys, and I'm absolutely not talking about that. But you also at some point, have to not make excuses and overcome some of those. And it just feels like, I hope to God we're not in another Ozil situation. I really do. And he starts scoring goals, everything will be forgotten. Yeah. But right now, from a leadership point of view and going on what would make sense for the team going forward, I'd keep Laka over Oba. Aye, the captain's back in the house. The train's got home. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell. Well, you know who my choice is, but we can't afford him. I would go get Lukaku. I mean, he's just a beast. Exactly. He's the kind of player that, talk about improved playing in Italy. People poo-poo Serie A. But what he did playing under Antonio Conte is unbelievable. Totally underappreciated at Manchester United. Another player I love, but we can't afford probably, is Marcus Thuram. I love Marcus Thuram. To me, he's like a mix of Kevin and Ian Wright. So, I know I'm going to get off the Oba train. Stop me, Mike. Stop me now, Aston. Just stop me.
Listen, we're parking the bus here. Here's the station.
Okay. All right. We're off. Okay. There's your answer, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell. What do you think about that?
Kylian Holland or Erling Mbappe. That's who I would replace Aubameyang with.
Yeah. Well, God, we'll have to sell the land, the stadium. We'd have to sell it all. So yeah, I mean, look, that to me, those are the top 5 kind of hot topics today, because we're now heading into August, right? We got 31 days to go, maybe a bit more. And I just feel like it's getting to that time where we're not shifting, we're not selling. And that's going to be really important. And then you start asking, well, are we going to really make it happen this time? And those deals are going to come in. Mr. Kevin Campbell wants a follow-up, everybody. I think we'll allow this. Well, if we can't replace him, why would you sell? No, I just said in a hypothetical world. I'm living in my hypothetical bubble. Right now, he'd be yelling, Sophie, Sophie, Sophie.
Right back on the bus.
Thuram is nowhere near as lethal as Aubameyang. Everyone was more lethal than Aubameyang last season, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell, I'll have you know. But yeah, I mean, let's hope he's going to come back. If he's not, then I'll have a humble pie baking for you in my Arteta oven that I have.
Bang out of order that Everton fan that I interviewed last night on video at the pub was because there's a ton of Everton fans here, because Everton actually did show up for the Florida Cup. And you ask an Everton fan the obvious question, which is Kevin Campbell, best footballer ever for Everton, right? And he delayed. He didn't come up with the right answer. I thought that was completely out of order. Kev, yeah. I tried to hook you up.
He's brocking next, Taib, even though he's not here. But hold on a second. This is not true at all. I don't have a problem with Aubameyang earning lots of money and is a jovial character. I do have a problem when you're captain and your 2 younger players who are coming through and more mature than your captain. That I have a problem with. And by maturity, I mean lead by example. And you're going to make me say it now, Neil, is show up early to the North London derby.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is you can have as much money as you like. I give zeros. The more money you get, power to you. But when you are captain of Arsenal Football Club, I expect a little bit better. Super Kev will be back in the house tomorrow night with the Tuesday Club-ish episode with Mr. Lee Judges and Dan Potts from Lee Judges TV. I know I did it. Slap me on the wrist. I'm in trouble. Hit the do not like button. I'm sorry. I just had to. Kevin took me there. He usually does. So yeah, all right. I'll leave Oba alone.
Everybody talk about Saga. Save the podcast.
I'm going to try and really not mention it. Do you guys think I could do it?
Yeah, Ash and I will put a $5 on that for Gooners versus Cancer. We'll see.
Every time I complain about Aubameyang and the North London derby this season, I will give $1.
Like somebody that's doing like a long distance race or something. For every time she mentions it, it's another $5 to
I will do it. I will do it. And by the way, you thought your nickname was cool. Have you seen what his nickname Lee Judge is, by the way?
Gianni Judges?
Gianni Judges, because he was complaining about Kev wearing his not complaining, but you made a comment about, is Kev wearing shades because he's in the sun, like he can't, And so he said, listen, Gianni Judges, and it stuck. So it's so epic.
Kevin is the nickname master. I mean, when you get a nickname from Kevin, it sticks with you for life.
100%. And apparently I already have to put $1 in the pot. Got the judge on the brain, have we?
He's got like one of those little things where you put the $1 in and he goes like this for about 5 minutes and then he stops and then you got to put in another $1.
I'm not going to take the bait, Richard. I can't talk about it anymore. All right, let's get to one of the main reasons that you're out there as well, Mike. By the way, everyone, thanks so much for joining us this Monday. You guys are awesome. And I love these 2 guys a lot. And I really, really wanted to let everyone know how special the Arsenal fans are out here in South America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, in Australasia, everywhere around the world. And as you know, last season we started a Good Morning show and we're going to be doing another one soon with our good friends in the Middle East. We'll be doing one in South America. We'll be doing one in Africa as well. I'm going to play this little clip, Mike, before you take it over and tell us a little bit about Gooners versus Cancer as well. This is Tiffany, who is on the board of Arsenal America, and she's also the founders of the Gooner Girls, which is a phenomenal group on Facebook. If you haven't joined it, please go and find it. Here we go.
Hello, Highbury Squad and fellow Gooners. I am coming to you live from beautiful Orlando, which you can't see because it's very bright out here. But, you know, obviously it was disappointing that the team didn't come out. These are the times of COVID. This is what happens. Totally understand that. You know, we've actually only eaten outdoors and been to outdoor events since we've been here. So it's been pretty good, you know, like people are masking, and obviously we have our Arsenal masks with us, and we are excited to see some people on Tuesday. A whole crew of us are going to Epcot, sort of turn it red for the day, and, you know, represent in lieu of our boys. So, you know, Mike's had an epic time with the Gooners versus Cancer fundraiser here, and, you know, what are you going to do? We still wanted to see family and be able to have a nice trip, you know, obviously with safety protocols in mind. So here we are. My fabulous ears that you have to see. So excited about these. So yeah, that's us. That's where we are. That's what's going on. We will send pictures on Tuesday from the whole group together. Bye. Miss you guys.
Love me some Tiff. I can't wait to see her tomorrow. I'm part of the crew going to Epcot, so there'll be some epic video from Epcot tomorrow. I'm not wearing those ears though.
Yeah. Yeah, and the boys in the chat are being very cute about Tiff as well. I love the lads. Well done, lads. And you know,
she's very married.
She's very married. That's what I was going to say. And of course, it's the usual suspects that are starting it all. And she does wear those ears so well, 100%. And look, they're out there having fun. They've spent their money. They've taken time off. They may as well enjoy themselves. And again, as I said, I just wanted to give them a major shout out on tonight's show. Mike, what's going on with the Gooners versus Cancer down there? Tell us. Give us an update.
You know what? The people talk about how the Arsenal fan base is toxic. It's this, it's that, it's negative. But I mean, they're just looking at like a sliver of the Twitter and podcasts and YouTube sphere, because the Arsenal fan base is so much more than that. And it's these kinds of weekends and weeks that just really bring that back home. Because, you know, without the club coming, obviously the numbers are smaller than we expected to have here, people wise. But yesterday, we had a pregame tailgate, even though there was no game, about 4 or 5 hours at the Broken Strings Brewery in Orlando. Aston was there. About what would you say, about 100 people or so?
Probably about 100, 150, just about.
And we did a fundraiser for Orlando, which is still going on. And you guys in the Squatty chat room, you can be part of this as well. But yesterday, we've raised a total of about $1,450 for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society just through this morning, actually. And we're going to go until Wednesday, because Wednesday was supposed to be the second game of the Florida Cup. So we're going to do another tailgate at Broken Strings on Wednesday. And
I don't know if my liver
can part of it. I'm sorry?
I don't know if my liver can take it.
Yeah, well, we'll see how I do on Tuesday before I decide what my beverage of choice on Wednesday. But I will be there with all the signs and the raffles and stuff. So if you want to be part of it, even if you're not in Orlando, you can be. It is a raffle drawing for a signed shirt from your pick of Alan Smith, Lee Dixon, or Super Kevin Campbell. Now, if you're a squatty, I know who you're going to pick. You're obviously going to go with Super Kev. But your pick of a personalized signed retro kit. Second prize is a new 21-22 kit of your choice with a personalization of any player that you want, unless it's Xhaka. That is not allowed. And then we also have 5 really nice Arsenal prints from Ruth Beck Art. So basically, there's stuff you can win if you donate by Wednesday morning. Go to gvcorlando.com. It's www.gvcorlando.com, and you can be part of that. And by entering this raffle, you'll also be entered in the big raffle later this summer, which we're going to be coming out with news about in the next few weeks. So Just really, it brings everybody together. Tons of people had fun yesterday, raised money. When Tiffany said in her video she came down here to see family, she wasn't talking about like blood family. She was talking about us.
Yep.
And the Arsenal family. And that's really, I mean, it sounds cheesy and corny to talk about that, but that is legitimately the reason to come down here. So
all the Gooners in the chat are asking for a Gooner Gras in the UK. They're also saying what an incredible job you guys are doing. And a lot of people are asking about where they can go to donate and be part of it as well. So I've just put the link up here, Mike. Make sure it's correct. So GVC Orlando.
GVCorlando.com.
Okay.
Martin says he's donating right now. I truly appreciate it. And again, you don't need to be here. When you donate, you're donating directly to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And, you'll be entered into the drawing that happens on Wednesday. And I'll put out a video on our channel about, who won and who finished second. I love the Universal Greek. First prize is 1 kit. Second prize is 2 kits. Like the more kits you get, the worse.
Yeah. Who said that? I put that up. That was kind of funny.
Greek.
Universal Greek is you can always trust the Greeks for a bit of comedy. Super Kevin Campbell getting involved now too with the old microwave water as well. So hilarious.
For a $50 donation, I will send a personalized video of myself microwaving water to make soup. That's what it takes. I'll do just about anything for the cause.
Amazing. Listen, the Gooners versus Cancer is one of the best community charities that we have. And what Mike is doing is incredible. He lost his dad to leukemia and he's made it his life's mission to raise as much money as he can to help people who, can't ordinarily get help as well. So it's really huge. Please go and donate. And however the Highbury squad can help you going forward, that we are here. Our community is here to help in any way we can, Mike. So
the support's been amazing. You and Tom and Lee and Dan and Elliot from Arsenal Vision had me on for a few minutes at the beginning of his podcast today. It's really gathering steam, and I truly appreciate it. Aston's been fantastic in helping out, and it's a feel good thing, man. Arsenal's been hard to be an Arsenal supporter the last few years, but this certainly hasn't hurt.
And you've got such a great community of players, as you've mentioned, like, legends of the Arsenal helping out, donating and stuff like that too. So that's a really big deal.
That's incredible because my heroes growing up watching Arsenal are now people I can reach out to and are willing to help. And I really, really appreciate that.
Kevin, why don't you just come on for a minute? I know your train clearly got home, Kev. If you missed the beginning of the show, Aston talked a lot.
What were they serving on that train? My God. He's in rare form.
Listen, trust me, I've got a voice. I've got a voice, and I love to use it. Okay?
Do you know what he's doing? He's wanting to make sure this is still happening, even when he's not here. He's brocking the necks. So we're going to need to put the Brock the Neck logo on that shirt, by the way, Matthew. So we could make some edits on that. Okay, listen, I know you guys have got to go. Also, guys, just please go to footballprizes.co.uk as well. The auction this week is Thierry Henry. It's a signed Thierry Henry signed shirt. I'll put pictures up on it tomorrow during tomorrow's show. Remember, Super Kev, Brock the Neck Man, is back tomorrow night. We've got Lee Judges and Dan Potts in the house for the Tuesday Club-ish. So be sure to tune in at 8 o'clock our regular time tomorrow night. Go to Football Prizes for the Thierry Henry shirt. Go to GVCorlando.com for Gooners versus Cancer. Aston, what say you before you leave this evening?
One thing I did want to say was thank you to all the Gooners that flew into Orlando anyway. Ryan Youngblood, we had David Ziegler. We had a whole mess of you guys out there, and I love the energy. I love everybody coming together, and I love the fact that even when Arsenal isn't here, the love keeps going. So
epic. And Magic Mike. Do you like my little gif? It's the samurai sword, by the way.
Look at that. Look how
this is when I want to suppress myself talking about what, and I have to put money in the jar. I'm just gonna do that.
I don't think I could add anything better than what Aston already said. So, Kev, I'm gonna let Aston speak for me, if you can believe that. Not only can he speak,
it'll be the first time Mike's let anybody speak for him.
Exactly.
I love it. It's perfect.
He's having a great time down here, and for those of you who asked in the chat if we're going to be coming to the UK, I mean, I come as often as I can to the UK. As soon as all this stuff clears up and it's safe to do it again, I'll be there with bells on.
Epic. We had a little bit of
bells on.
everything. Hope you enjoyed the chat as well about having babies and not wanting to get married. That was the sidebar. That's what they call the B story in the television series. So hopefully you enjoyed that too. All right. You guys are absolute joys. Love you. Be safe out there. Have a good time. And Mike, why don't you take us out tonight?
Oh boy. I'm not going to do the old one. Come on, you charitable Gooners.